Hello, friends. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, and welcome back to another episode of Elaborations with Skellington Grin. Today's episode is going to be a little bit short, but I just wanted to pop on quickly today because November was a lot. I wound up not getting a chance to record an end of the month episode or even an episode for the first day of this month, which was Monday, December the 1st. And you know what? That is okay because life is going to throw us some curveballs sometimes. And for me, the curveballs were dealing with the holiday and starting a new job during the week of Thanksgiving and navigating all of the transitions that come with the end of the year. And also in November, I got a new car, I took home a cat, and there were just so many things that were transitioning in my life for the entire month of November. But when that happens, sometimes we don't need to throw in the towel and allow that exhaustion to become our set point. Sometimes we just need to pause, take a breath, and pivot. And I want to talk about that with some of you or all of you really, because I feel like this is something that we have all faced multiple times over in our lives. And the question that comes up when changes are going on, when so many things are happening and we're trying to juggle everything, is that we ask ourselves, how do we keep going when life changes? How can we continue showing up for ourselves and the things that we love, even when our routines, schedules, and circumstances shift? As always, feel free to take notes while you're listening and be safe if you are traveling. Without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. So here's the big thing. Life doesn't stop changing, so neither do we. But change does not have to mean failure. Change does not have to mean giving up. And it does not have to mean that your passions or dreams have to take a backseat. Life is always moving, and sometimes it changes faster than we expect. But that doesn't have to derail you. It doesn't have to make you feel like you're starting over from scratch, even if you are starting a completely new chapter and a completely new venture in your life. There are going to be ways in which you are starting over from scratch. But you can still integrate things from your past and things from your passions and things from who you have always been fundamentally to make that transition a lot easier for yourself. And thus treat change like a merge lane. When you're merging into something new in your life, you're not leaving your old self behind. Even if you're leaving behind a few aspects because you've grown and you've changed and you've learned. But you are reshaping how you move forward. You are integrating, you are adapting, you are adjusting. And yes, that's going to look different for everyone because what works for one person might not work for another. And that is completely okay. The key is that no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, you are showing up for yourself in ways that are realistic, practical, and sustainable, and sometimes even a little bit fun. And when life shifts, it is so easy to think, well, I guess that this part of me that brings me joy has to go. And we especially start to think that when we start taking on different jobs, for example. Maybe we were working in a bakery at one point, and it was a locally owned bakery, and we loved it, and it was going great. But then something happened. A recession happened, or the pandemic shut us down, or anything like that. And then we had to go off and get a job in retail, or get a job in finances, or work as a tax professional for half of the year, and then try to find something else to do for the rest of the year. And it throws us a curveball. And we start working more, and we have less time for ourselves sometimes. But the truth is, even when that happens, you don't have to abandon what you love. You just have to integrate it differently with the time that you have. And it's going to look different for every case, but I'll just give you one example. If you are working, say, from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., and you know that you get off at 4 p.m., but you also know that it takes you 30 minutes each way to get to work. So that means that you have to leave your house at about 5:30 a.m. to get to your job for 6. And you're going to spend 30 minutes or maybe even 45 minutes to an hour in traffic if the traffic is bad at 4 p.m., which sometimes it is, to get home from work. So you give yourself that allotted time. But then when you get home, you have dinner, you shower, you take care of your other necessities and your other priorities. And you know that you work maybe 3 days a week like that. And then you're off for a day. And then you work another day. And then you're off for 2 more days. What you can do to pivot through your life is still find ways to show up for yourself that invoke joy. That may mean that you go to bed super early. That may mean that you go to bed at 8 and you wake up at 4 so that you can go to the gym or you can get some exercise in before you have to start getting ready for work. And you can also eat breakfast before you go into work. Or maybe you are taking your breakfast with you so that you can eat it by your desk in the office. But when you are showing up for yourself with joy despite your circumstances, it doesn't mean that you have to let go of anything. You just have to integrate it differently. If you like reading to be able to wind down at the end of the day, maybe just read 1 chapter and then spend your days off breezing through the rest of the book. If you like doing yoga, then sometimes waking up a little bit earlier so that you can get that yoga into your day. Or doing it at night too. Whatever is going to work. You're not getting rid of the thing that brings you joy. You're just integrating it into your life differently. And here's a simple framework that I like to follow. First, pause. Acknowledge what's changing. Don't ignore it or pretend it's not happening. Number 2, prioritize. Figure out what matters most to you and what brings you joy. Number 3, pivot. Adjust your approach so it works with your new reality. And finally, integrate. Weave your passions into your current life instead of letting them fall by the wayside. Sometimes that does mean letting go of old routines or old ways of doing things. But that doesn't mean that you're giving up. That just means that you're going through an evolution and you're being smart about how you show up for yourself. For me, this past month has been all about pivoting. I started a new job working in beauty retail, which is something that I've wanted several times over in my life, especially because I'm finally leaning into the intuitive plan to go to cosmetology school. I have been wondering if it was the path for me and even been subconsciously, subtly dreaming about it for years because I've been doing my own hair and taking care of my own hair and makeup care for the past 5 years. And I feel like it's finally time to step into this. I've also been pivoting, like I said at the beginning of the episode, with getting a new job right during the holiday season and bringing home a cat and getting a new car. And I am looking at my cat right now because he is currently eating his breakfast and being a cute little baby. But I've also had to think about the different things in my life that I've been doing and the way that I've been doing them. And I recently sat down with myself and I had to ask myself, does this new transition in my life mean that I'm giving up my podcast, my tarot work, or my spiritual practices? And the answer is no. I don't have to give up any of that. But it does mean that I have to integrate them differently. It means that I need to create a better structure for myself that allows me to explore new passions without abandoning the things that bring me joy and meaning. And for me, working in beauty retail and doing all of the necessary research and work and planning to go to cosmetology school. It's also recognizing that cosmetology is not just a creative outlet for me. It's also something that is practical, recession-proof, and a way to connect with people while building a sustainable life. Because I've thought about what I want to do after cosmetology school. I don't simply want to be a hairdresser cutting people's hair at the local family hair care salon. I mean, I will work at a Fantastic Sam's though. Fantastic Sam's is pretty cool. But for me, I also want to be able to do things like weddings, personal services, specialized techniques, and still honor the spiritual and intuitive aspects of who I am and integrate that into how I connect with my clients. And that is a way that I have learned to integrate all of the aspects of my passions and integrate all of my passions into one set thing so that I can pivot toward growth without losing what already matters. For example, once I'm done kind of working my way through being a cosmetologist and figuring out what works for me and working in different salons and, getting my license after school and stuff, because I have to get the license first to then work in the salons, right? But once I'm able to maybe even open my own salon, or even if I'm working for somebody and they're allowing me to kind of like offer different services, I've even thought about integrating maybe an intuitive consultation. So that could look like, okay, maybe we're going to do an energy reading on the person to see what's going to be the most benefit for them. Maybe we're going to do a little bit of tarot talk before we do hair care. Maybe we're going to do a little tarot reading on what is this new transition for them going to look like, and integrating little spiritual services while I'm also giving them hair care and makeup care and skincare. And also using natural products in my own salon once I'm able to open my own salon. Using things like apple cider vinegar rinses and natural soaps and salves and different things that really appeal to being able to take care of yourself without damaging your hair or damaging your skin, or using a product that has more chemicals in it and isn't safe for the environment, and just different things that I've really put a lot of thought into. And that's the heart of what I want you to take away. Just because life shifts, it doesn't mean that your dreams or passions are going to disappear. You just get to find a new way to integrate them and make them something better and bigger. And sometimes that means doing things in a slightly different order or a different way, but the fire is still there. And I've given so much thought as to how I'm still going to keep up with this podcast and do things with tarot and spiritual services moving forward, even as I pursue a life of being a cosmetologist. So if you're facing a change, whether it's a new job, a move, a relationship shift, or simply a spiritual pivot, don't assume that you have to give up the parts of yourself that make you who you are. Pause, prioritize, pivot, and integrate. See what you can carry forward. See what needs to be reshaped. And remember, evolution doesn't mean loss. It means growth. And you deserve a life that always expands with you, that flexes with your circumstances, and allows you to step into your creativity, your intuition, and your passions, even when the path looks different than you initially imagined. Thank you, as always, for taking this time with me today. And if you would like to connect further, you can find all of the things Skellington Grin at the link in the description box. I always love hearing from you, and I love seeing you take steps towards integrating your passions, your spirituality, and your creativity into your life. I have been your Gothic Witch Big Sis Ava, and this has been another enlightening episode of Elaborations with Skellington Grin. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now, love.